Describe the run in one word. It's very, very difficult to do.
I think it's life-changing, really, just life-changing.
Wow. Grace.
A life-saving adventure. Could be described as a life-saving adventure for a lot of guys.
Amazing.
It would be fantastic.
Patriotism. You're surrounded by people who love this country. You're surrounded by people who serve this country. You're surrounded by people who still care.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Healing.
I think the best word is probably awesome. Awesome in that the sense of family and the sense of healing and support is really the reason why people need to come out and do this.
It's to bring remembrance to those POWs and to our missing in action that we have no accounting for. There's been so many, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, even our current wars, we have missing that need accounting for.
What I would tell somebody about Run for the Wall is it was a lifesaver for me, because in our era, we never got the welcome home.
And there's a lot of those guys out there that are here today that have stories that are just as dramatic as mine, if not more. And I'm sure there are some out there that have more, horrible stories that they think about. But they try to get their mind off of it, and this is one way we do it.
You see these small towns where 80% of the population is everybody's just coming out, closing shops. You'll see signs that says supporting Run for the Wall.
Even if you're not a veteran, just to see the outpouring of people that are so patriotic is just heartwarming.
The ones that really get you is a single person on an overpass in the middle of nowhere, standing at attention, saluting you.
Welcome home. Welcome to the Run for the Wall. Welcome to the most life-changing thing you will ever do in your life.
Every May, a group of 1,500 veterans and supporters take part in a 10-day, 2,700-mile motorcycle journey across the heartland of America. This, however, is not just any ride. This is a mission. This mission is to promote healing among all veterans and their families, to call for an accounting of all prisoners of war and those still missing in action, to honor the memory of those killed in action, and to support our military personnel all over the world. The final destination of this mission? The Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C.
We called it Run for the Wall.
You know there's prisoners there. You know they're there. Why lie? Talk about it. Bring it out in the open. If there's politicians who are at fault, we don't care. We want our prisoners back home here. How many of our prisoners have died last year that we didn't get? How many are going to die this year if we don't get them right now? How long is the bull going to continue to run in our governmental channels, I guess is what we're trying to say. Let's get them out of there.
Well, it started primarily, I was in the last battle of the Vietnam War, May 15th today, 1975. We were part of the Operation Marquez Rescue, which was 2 weeks after Saigon had fallen. And unfortunately, my battalion was called in to rescue 39 Americans on a container ship that was successful. But the men who landed on the island of Koh Tang hit a hailstorm of enemy fire, and total loss was over 41 lost. 3 of those men lost were 3 American Marines who were left behind when all the helicopters lifted off the island. Those 3 Marines, Hall, Hargrove, and Marshall, were a machine gun team, and each helicopter group was told that they were on that chopper, and unfortunately they were left behind.
We were told it was just going to be farmers and some natives there on the island, but it wasn't. It was a very well-trained Camaraderie force, outnumbering us, as a matter of fact. We lost several helicopters. We lost 13 of our men, plus 3 men of mine, Hall, Hargrove, and Marshall. There was a machine gun team. And they were put on the right flank of our perimeter. That was the last time I saw that machine gun team, Hall, Hargrove, and Marshall. We were pulled out of that operation late at night by Air Force helicopters. There was a lot of rounds coming in when the birds came in to pick us up. I've heard a story, the helicopter I was on, which I think was the second to last one to leave the island, had 150-something bullet holes in it. At that time, I had no idea where Hall, Hargrove, and Marshall was. They were scattered, our men were scattered out all over. Some of them were swimming out to sea. Some of them drowned in the ocean. Several of them were shot up and killed in helicopters. And we didn't know for several hours that Hall, Hargrove, and Marshall was not accounted for.
That was a collective guilt in my battalion. We all ended up back in Okinawa where we started from a day or two later. We had a lot of dead and wounded. We had the services, and then we realized we had these 3 Marines.
They were captured by the Camaraderie. Hargrove supposedly was executed on the island, buried on the island. But we've had teams go back there and looking for him and talking to Camaraderie. Actually, the Camaraderie colonel that shot him admitted he shot him and buried him at a certain place, but their remains were never found. And Hall and Marshall supposedly were taken back to mainland Cambodia, tortured and killed over there. I don't know, sometimes I blame myself. People tell me it's not my fault. They came on the island with me. They didn't leave the island with me. That's why I somewhat blame myself. That's not right. And we were not allowed to go back and look for them.
I was invited up to Los Angeles for a welcome home parade in 1986. First parade of its type that I believe in America, where Vietnam veterans were actually welcomed home. And my fire team leader from Vietnam, Carl Rice, was there. Carl says, "Man, you gotta sit down with me Sunday morning. I want to introduce you to POW family members. Their husbands, fathers, sons have not returned, and they're still alive in Vietnam." And I said, "Carl, that's impossible. Our president said 1973 they all came home." And then he reminded me that in 1979, a Marine, guy named Bobby Garwood, came out of North Vietnam alive and intact, and they had already presumed he was dead because they hadn't heard from him. So Sunday morning, I was sat down with this fairly large group of folks, and I listened to POW family members. There were several, but the one who impressed me the most was a lady who only lived about 5 miles from me. Her name was Marion Shelton. Marion's husband was the last official POW in Vietnam. And Charlie shot down. Evidence indicates he was sent to China. And we know that Charles Shelton is eventually taken and held prisoner and then disappeared. So fast forward to 1988, the Marine Corps in its infinite wisdom says, "Oh, you're a safety officer in the recruit training regiment and you've never been to safety school. Would you like to go to school in Indiana?" And I go, "Oh yeah, that sounds like fun." So that school provided me the opportunity, the resource to recon the route. So on the way back, I do Interstate 70, again, stopping VFWs, churches, anybody who'll listen. And then I start making a list of supporters. Little did I realize that some of these people really took to heart what I was saying. That welcome home parade in Los Angeles, they had the miniature wall. And I realized then that I saw the names of Marines KIA in Vietnam, including the MyQuez people. I said, you know what, I want to go to the real wall, the big wall. And I want to go and I want to take a few friends with me.
All right, let's fire them up. Let's get down the road.
May 19th, 1989, San Diego, California.
We'll have somewhere around $500.
We departed San Diego about 10 a.m. in a group of about 250 motorcycles strong. Ontario, California was our first stop along our journey.
I've been drinking a lot of coffee in San Diego before I left, and so a lot of other folks. So we rolled in Ontario and we're all running for the bathrooms at the same time. And here are all these news people with the cameras, and one lady was following me with the camera and a microphone going into the bathroom basically with me. I said, you know, you gotta wait at the door.
And we're loaded with people here. Jim, welcome.
Thank you. And this morning I left Marion Shelton in San Diego. And of course Marion's the wife of Colonel Charles Shelton, the only man still classified POW. And you know, you look at a woman like that, her husband's been gone for 24 years. And how long is she supposed to wait? How many of our prisoners have died last year that we didn't get? How many are going to die this year if we don't get them right now?
When I had 150 riders, give or take, and a lot of those were folks I knew personally. Some people just showed up. I had no idea who they were. One guy from Hawaii had a Harley with a trailer, and he's got flip-flop shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, and that's how he rode across country.
From Ontario, California, we proceeded east to Nevada and Las Vegas.
When you leave Las Vegas, it's almost solid desert. We got one guy on a Sportster, and he can't do but about 80, 90 miles. And he had two little hand grenades on his handlebars, and they were hollow. He had gas in there, and he literally would unscrew them and pour another cup of gas in his tank on the road. We got into Utah. Beta Utah was there to welcome us.
Here we are at Green River Campground.
Those groups all along the way, I had no idea. They said they would help. I hoped they would help. I hoped they'd be there. And every single group, you know, was there, provided help, did what they could. Some of them went well overboard.
Well, thank you. You're one of the few that do.
Hi, lunch is in Colby. Colby, Wyoming is 65 miles from Burlington, and they're setting up a big feed. So you just had breakfast. I strongly suggest you don't snack too much between now and Colby.
So it was a little disorganized, but quickly the core group knew what to do and how to get along and how to get down the road. We had a guy on a Yamaha from Oregon, and the damn thing was like 15 years old, and we rebuilt that bike at least 3 times on the road, kept putting parts on that thing, getting down the road. But a Vietnam vet needed help, and we got him there. He got to the wall.
Going into Kansas, and an old Dodge truck with a big trailer full of junk just come flying past us, blew a tire, and just went boom and went out in the freeway.
Nobody got hurt. Totaled the truck. Every biker stopped though, by God. Every one of them stopped to help these people.
Some of you, 30 of you out there have hit the desert, you've hit the Rockies, the Continental Divide, the High Plains. Now we're getting headed out for the Mississippi River, and we're going to do the Smokies and right into Washington, D.C. There's a whole mess of us out there waiting to be heard. You, and you. The only way to do it is with these people right here backing us up. Without support, we ain't nothing.
The key here is the support and the volunteers. We can't ride across country the way we do it, even the first year, without those supporters, volunteers, whether they're veterans, VFWs, American Legions, whether they're church groups are big, huge, so many great people in the different churches.
In the age of computers, there's no reason in the world for them to continue to leave people behind. And here 2 years ago, Lieutenant Colonel Higgins was captured in Lebanon as a peacekeeper working for the United Nations. When was the last time a newspaper reporter asked, where the hell is he? When was the last time a television crew asked somebody, where the hell is he? So we're going to do it for you, and we're going to force people to wake up and say, damn it, we can't go to war and leave people behind.
In Salina, Kansas, we were hosted by Vietnam Vets Motorcycle Club in Abate, Kansas. Arriving at the campgrounds, we rode under an archway of American flags held by other veterans, women, and children, welcoming us home.
I slept on the ground, everybody slept on the ground. It also created a camaraderie because we'd hang out at night. But the locals all want to hang out with us and, let's have music and have a party. And we're going, hey, been on the road now 3 or 4 days. We're whooped. Just shut the band down. We're going to bed.
Our next stop was Owensboro, Kentucky, the hometown of Colonel Charles E. Shelton, who is still a prisoner of war in Laos.
But his plane went down in '64. Too many miles from friendly shores. The telegram said MIA. She thinks he's still alive today.
I really appreciate you coming and making a statement like this. It's real important to me. And I brought my camera to take your pictures because you are all very special to me.
And I think by then we might have had 200 bikes with us, coming in DC. We were forced to be reckoned with. First thing we rolled in those days, we came in and we went to the Iwo Jima Memorial at the Marine Corps War Memorial. We were small enough to do that, and we did that several years in a row. And we went to the wall, and all these people all of a sudden just kind of parted. It was like a sea, and it was awesome.
This is the end of our mission. This is the end of a run for the wall. Rolling Thunder kicks off today, and that's all the POWMIA stuff. The parade tomorrow. Some of you guys, it's in the hardest core son of a bitch this world's ever seen. I tell you, this is a hard ride. Some of you guys too.
When Rolling Thunder kicked off on Sunday morning, Run for the Wall led the pack. We led the group. Well, obviously the first question is, Run for the Wall was supposed to be just a one-time affair. We had no money. We had no money when we started, and we had less when we got home. I went to Sturgis in August, and I ran into guys who says, "Oh, you're that guy. You're that Run for the Wall." And I said, well, "How do you know about Run for the Wall?" It was on TV. It was in a newspaper. It was a magazine article. And Vietnam vets getting radicalized on motorcycles, freedom now for our POWs. And that's when I started getting calls from people who knew what we were and what was going on. Barbara Bush got on national TV and talked about putting a sweater on every morning, and her POW bracelet would snag. And she'd go, "I got this from these guys in San Diego. Run for the Wall." And oh God, Connie Chan, this actress, that actor won a bracelet, and they all spoke. It was a positive time in America that we came together. And one guy puts his arm and says, "Gunny, I just got a call from home. All of our leaves been canceled. Everybody in our entire division, the whole 1st Marine Division, is flying in Saudi Arabia, and there's a war starting with the Iraqs." So the war kicked off within a few months, and the first 2 prisoners of war was a Colonel Agri and a Warrant Officer, Guy Hunter. I immediately went up to their homes, spoke with their wives. I said, "God, look at that, there's Guy on TV. God, they beat him up. That's great." "What do you mean that's great?" I said, "Look, Mary, he's on TV. He's beat up, he's bruised. So what? He'll survive, but they can't make him disappear. He's on national TV." And she goes, "Oh, yeah, you're right." So then we got POWs. Well, we got to do Run for the Wall again. So the second year happened. We still had problems. The third year with POWMIAs missing, we did it again. And then frankly, I was burned out. I couldn't do it again. A couple of guys called me up and says, "Hey, Gunny, if you don't mind, we'd like to do Run for the Wall. Do you mind if we do it and take it over?" And I go, "Hey, whatever, man, do it." A guy from LA calls me up and says, "You don't know me, but I want you on Run for the Wall in 1999. I want to pay your way." And I go, "Well, I'm in South Carolina." And he goes, "No, you're coming with me." And then I saw the new Run for the Wall, and I go, "Oh, goodness."
With the success of the original route in 1989, known as Central Route, 2 more routes were added, the Southern Route in 2001 and the Midway Route in 2014. All 3 routes joined together in Washington, D.C. on Memorial Day weekend. In 2022, a new 4th route, called Sandbox, was created to connect the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall with the new Middle East Conflicts Wall in Marseilles, Illinois, making Run for the Wall 4 routes, 1 mission.
Welcome to the largest family that you will have ever known. I got involved in Run for the Wall through my grandfather, whose name is Roger Cowboy Meade. And in 2004, when I was 13, my grandfather thought it would be a fantastic trip and really educational for me to join him. And that turned into 14 years later, I'm still coming. What would keep me coming back each year would be the family. You show up and it's the nicest group of people that you will ever meet. It's kind of a surreal emotion to walk into a group of people that you've never met and instantly feel like your family. I would definitely tell any FNG that just coming to the run that prepare yourself to cry, to be hugged a lot, and to come back next year, because I will guarantee from experience that you can't only go once.
We just thank you for doing what you're doing, stopping along the way. 10 days is a long way to ride. Stopping along the way and making sure that people are aware of the issues that veterans have, POWs, MIAs. And that's it. I just wanted to come out here and tell you thanks very much for allowing us, the 1st Marine Division Band, and me to come out here and be a little small part of this, along with the Color Guard. It is an honor for us. And as you pick up riders and end with however many thousands of riders you're going to end up with at Rolling Thunder, you represent us proudly. So thanks to all of you for what you do, and God bless you all. To everybody else.
We're glad you are here. You are fixing to ride the heart of America. You will see and you will cry, and I'll cry with you. You may have went to Sturgis bike rally, you may have went to Daytona bike rally, but if you hadn't done Run for the Wall, running 60 miles an hour down the highway with a bunch of vets, you ain't done shit.
Being a Navy veteran from the Vietnam era, we didn't get any special welcome home or thanks, or it was pretty much benign to me. They told me, don't wear your uniform, which I was proud of. They said, just wear your civilian clothes, and that's what I did. Run for the Wall has sort of helped me pick up where that left off, because when I got out of the Navy, I didn't want to talk to anybody about having been in the Navy, having been over to Vietnam, haven't been involved in that at all. All my stuff went in a shoebox and went up on the shelf, and I never got it down. When I got here, I started talking to some people, and they had the same exact experience. And I thought, wow, never talked to anybody about this before, and all of a sudden, here, everyone knows exactly how I feel. You don't feel this way in many places. Run for the Wall is one place where you feel like you belong.
My first year, it was not the first time I'd been to the wall, but it was the first time that I'd been to the wall with other Vietnam vets. And there's a permission that exists to actually grieve for the names that are on the wall that you know. My thing was that I just felt that I didn't do enough when I was in Vietnam. And to me, what that meant is that I felt that if I was going to make the ultimate sacrifice, that somehow that would shorten that war. And I didn't. So I always felt like I failed in what I felt was my duty to serve. So for me, that first trip was my chance to actually feel what it was like to see the 23 names that are on the wall that I know. You cannot go to war and not take humanity out of the soldiers that are in it. Because the only way you can get somebody, another human being, to kill another human being is to make that other person less human than you are. To do that, though, means that you have to give up a whole chunk of your humanity. And nobody gave it back to us. Nobody gave us a chance to figure out what it was like to be human again before they dumped us back and said, you're on your own. And I think we still do that to most of the Iraq and Afghan vets. So for me, that's why I do the run. Grab a hold of something hard and hold on. You're about to go for the ride and run for your life.
I do welcome you all and encourage you to ride safely. We shall all meet again in Washington, D.C., and we will celebrate the 30th year along with memorializing those on a wall. This is a mission, and your heart should be in it 100%.
Not a military man myself, but grew up in a military family. My father served for 20 years in the Marine Corps. I heard about Run Through Wall through my mother. She joined up 5 years ago, so this would be her 6th year. She heard it through friends and family when she started going through my Uncle Joe's story. My Uncle Joe was labeled as killed in action, but there's been a lot of evidence that's come back that he was taken prisoner, and not all the facts are straight, so my family's fighting to put him back to missing in action.
He was shot down a week after the peace treaty was signed over Laos. We were told everybody was killed, the 8-man crew. We found out a few years later there were 4 survivors that were captured, but they never returned.
This is, and it's sad that this is something that we look at when it comes to our brother Joe. And when you see something that says wanted, dead or alive, when we have a government agency that is supposed to tell us whether a person has been killed, captured, or is still missing, and they don't, we have to come up with something like this just to have people say, well, what is going on?
I don't know a whole lot about him, and that's one of the big reasons I'm here doing this ride, is to learn a lot about him and also just want to be a part of this and see what it's all about.
He's not really going to know my brother, but he's going to realize that, you know, these are real people here, you know. They've had some real experiences, and people fight for our freedom here, so.
He is still missing in action, and we miss him. I want to thank you for the time today.
hosts and hostesses. We are very grateful for this meal tonight and the nourishment it brings.
All right, day one's over. This was just an awakening, opening experience. It was amazing to see how much support and patriotism was already on the ride. I figured we'd have to get far out of California before anybody was on the overpass, but the first one, there's already people waving. I'm just excited to keep going, and I hope to probably come back next year.
This is Thelma. This is Louise. And we're on the staging team. We didn't know anything about Run for the Wall until we met Sixth String, started talking, hanging out with them, and that's all they talked about was Run for the Wall and wanted to participate, and so they found us a job working staging.
They handed us a hat, a sign, a paddle with L on it for leadership.
And some chalk.
And a bucket of chalk and a vest, and we went to the parking lot to start, and there were, what, 2,000 or so bikes? And we looked at each other and said, what the hell have we done? Because we had no idea what we were doing.
Nobody taught us anything. They just said, here's your paddle, here's your vest.
But after the first stop, we nailed it. We nailed it. If we try to make it fun, just to relax, because you don't know what these people are going through, how they came about coming to Run for the Wall, our veterans, what they've been through. So if we can put one smile on a face at every stop, I think we've done our job. And this is the way we do it. This is the way we do it.
But I got to tell you, Bandit here, he jumped into a position where he had no idea he was going to be jumping into. And we all love Diesel, and we feel for him. But I got to give Bandit one hell of a hand clap and a salute because he's taking it. And he's taking it how far? How far? How far? Simplify.
You know, airborne, how far? All the way. We got a lot of airborne people. I'm a Marine. I put up with the crap. All right, your Army, I love you, but damn it, what's all this all the way stuff? They started that chant early years, you know, because that's an airborne thing. How far? All the way. Well, immediately Run for the Wall picked it up, and it became my chant to rally the troops, as my wife says. And I just love it because now it's like, I mean, almost every stop. How far? All the way.
I'm 71.
What's that furry thing?
It's a microphone. Can you say hi?
Hey, hi, bud. How you doing?
Kids are great.
Once again, we are privileged to have these people visit our school and do all that they do for us. We are proud to be wearing these shirts to honor all that you've done for our country. Let's give a cheer, guys.
It does get in your blood and in your heart. I will probably do this as long as you guys let me. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Have a safe trip to Washington. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do, veterans.
I'm the missing man coordinator. We have 34 stops on the run, so we put a different FNG or somebody that has not ridden the missing man formation into this formation so that they can honor a deceased KIA, MIA member or somebody that they've known that they want to ride in honor of. There are so many different emotions. You see everything from, you know, they're happy to be able to remember, to tears of joy, to pain. because they're still lost and the wound is still fresh. That we have the chaplain there for one of the reasons, because it's very hard for some people, especially some of the Vietnam vets that have lost their whole fire platoon, and then there are others that, like me, when I rode for my father, it's a very emotional experience. My dad was a Vietnam veteran, and he was affected by Agent Orange, and so I did my first run on the 20th anniversary of his passing. And the moment we rode out of there, knowing that I was riding in remembrance of my father, was the moment I knew I had to come back all the time.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for whoever it was that thought up having this agreement for me. That's awesome. Yep. I wasn't prepared for it. I really didn't understand Run for the Wall before I got here. When I came down, I thought it was just a big motorcycle ride. But I'm getting educated.
Good photos? Oh yeah, okay.
We are in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're the home of the mountains. We did like 320 something miles today from Flagstaff, where we thought it was going to be snowing, and it wasn't snowing, thank God. It was sunny. Sunny's good. Drove all the way down through here. It's a good stop. Cool thing going through Albuquerque, the cops shut the entire friggin' highway down, so we could just like woo right through the whole city, which was awesome.
Did you say that there was nobody else on the road but us?
Nobody but us on the highway, and there was probably a lot of really pissed off people. So awesome.
What's his name?
Yankee.
Yankee. Hi, Yankee. He's like, I'm hanging out right here.
He smells the hamburgers.
My name is Gene Overstreet. I was a Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and we kicked off today, day number 2, in Flagstaff, Arizona, and came all the way to Albuquerque, New Mexico. We had several fuel stops along the way, and without a single incident, we got in and got out, and everybody's having a good time. We killed it today. You can't beat a deal like this.
Right. I don't have a favorite color. What makes us come back every year?
Camaraderie.
Well, you know what? I want to come and see his ugly mug every time. That's what it is.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, not a problem. But
it's the camaraderie. You know,
it's,
like I said, it's family. It's friends. It's
I have family here, and we get to see them once a year. If we're for 10 days, and it's great. You know, I'll tell you how much family this is. The Run for the Wall just started a Facebook page. Okay, so of course people were signed up for it and stuff like that. And this one girl posted, she's like, I'm out on the 70 in Colorado, mile marker, so I'm broken down. I don't have AAA. I don't know who to call. Someone in Run for the Wall answered her and was there within an hour. It was just, I was like, I'm watching all the comments. Like I was like, okay, I don't really have nothing to do. I'm in California, but we have so much family across this nation that someone's like, oh, I got you. And then within an hour, she had somebody there just for going onto that website on Facebook.
Well, just the other day, somebody was looking for me, and they go, hey, has anybody seen Maz anywhere? And it was a couple hours before I got back onto it, and somebody goes, yeah, I think he was riding on I-10, he was in Tucson, and then he was over here, and he left here, and he left here with Ghost Rider, and I was like, 4 hours later, I finally see it, and I'm like, daggone, everybody knows where I'm at except for me.
Right.
You mentioned you're a patriot.
Yes.
And I'm a veteran. And there's patriotic veterans, and then there's patriotic patriots. And
right.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we just we welcome everybody.
Yeah,
It's,
everybody.
you know,
It doesn't matter what bike you ride. It doesn't matter if you want to. I mean, if you want to help out, you can drive a chase truck. You don't even have to be on a bike. So we welcome everybody on this run.
How far are we going?
All the way!
How far are we going?
All the way!
How far are we going?
All the way!
Hi y'all, thanks for watching. Yeah, that's Australian saying y'all. We're at the Blue Hole in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. A bit of a tradition here on the midway route for Run for the Wall. We have road guards and other members of leadership that choose to dive into the hole. So it started in 2014 on our inaugural route. A guy called Rick McDowell, known as the Hawk, was the first man to jump in, and we've continued on the tradition. So the Blue Hole, for those that don't know, 80 feet deep, all natural water, constant 61 degrees. Today's about 84, 85, I guess. So yeah, we'll have a bit of a refreshing dip. There's the hole, and we have the target. And we have a slide audience over the side there. How far are we going? All the way! How far? All the way! How far? All the way! Hey, get that ledge. Say hi to the camera.
Run for the Wall 2018! Hey, man! Blue Hole! Group photo!
As a road guard, we're there to ensure the safe passage of the pack on the way through. Those that are giving their time and efforts to represent this organisation as we go across the country, to make sure they can do that safely, to make sure that if something does happen, that we're there to minimise any effects that may happen. We're sort of like the fathers and mothers of the group. We keep everybody safe as best as we can. It's helped me deal with a lot of demons that I had in my head, and it's helped me to understand that there are a lot of other people out there that have these issues. You know, I've got a good friend on the run that lost 21 guys in his platoon in Vietnam. He was the last guy out of his platoon to get through. So to help those sort of people deal with what they've been going through for at times 20 and 30 years. You know, they haven't had anybody to talk to. They have been holding things in their mind and struggling through life to help them get that freedom back, and to understand that the ultimate sacrifice was given. They were spared to live the life and to enjoy the freedoms that they were fighting for.
I'll wait to see your golden smile, feel of 1,000 kisses. Oh, please stay a while. I'll reach up to hold your sunlit face. Feels like a handful of silk now. I'm in your warm embrace. Oh, I hope this feeling lasts till
We left Albuquerque this morning, rode about 300 miles and got here at Amarillo. It was a beautiful day, a little windy. We had Leo support the whole time. It was great. We had a little bit of bump and runs in the end coming into town, which is fine, which is great. Road guards and everybody did what they were supposed to do. No one got injured. We got here safely. We just had the best barbecue on the planet Earth, I think, because we're in Texas now. The ribs are amazing. We had the best welcome year so far. I think this is King Joffrey's, Michelle's 3rd year, and so it just gets better every year. This is so amazing. I can't wait to get on to Shawnee tomorrow. We might hit a little weather, but you know what? God's on our side, so we have hope, hope for the MIA families, we have honor for the KIA families, and then we have healing for our veterans. Okay? That's what this mission's all about. So I'm Pipes, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
May 20th, 2011, I lost my wife to suicide. She went up behind our house and committed suicide up in the woods, and we had 100 people every day for about 4 days looking for her. We finally found her. A few years went by, and I heard of the Run for the Wall, and I didn't know anything about it, and I was really feeling just isolated and lost. So I rode my bike down to Meridian, Mississippi, and joined up. And I had in my mind, beyond Chattanooga is where I spread my wife's ashes. I didn't know if I could make it. And so I just kind of broke away from the run at the Harley-Davidson dealership after we ate supper and did a little socializing. I went about 10 miles down the road to a Hampton Inn. I had in my mind I was just going to head back home, head back south, and I really didn't care if I made it or not. I heard another motorcycle come in about 10, and I needed some ice, so I walked down to where the ice machine was, and I didn't see any lights or any rooms, but I saw this one motorcycle. It had a gunner sergeant sticker on the windshield, and another symbol on it, another sticker that said the Mayaguez operation. That was the name of the ship the Camaraderie had captured. And a gunner sergeant sticker, and also had a drill instructor sticker on it. Wow, who is this guy? So instead of knocking on doors, I put a note on his windshield of who I was, that I was the platoon sergeant for Hall Hog River Marshal, and for whoever owned that motorcycle to come by my room. About 5:30 in the morning, I knocked on my door, and I opened it up, and there's this fellow standing there. I didn't recognize him because James Gregory was in our 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines, along with a little over 200 of us. I personally did not know him at the time of that operation. But he introduced himself and said he had just got in town himself. I said, turn around and walk out here in my motorcycle. I pulled the cover off of it, and I've got a placard on the front windshield that says, bring him home, Hall, Hog River Marshal, May 15th, 1975. And we both sat there and looked at it and choked up a little. It just brought back a lot of memories. I told him, I said, I'm kind of breaking off the run now. I'm headed back south. He and Patty said, no, you're going to D.C. with us. That's what I did. It was just, he said, you belong to our family. And that's the way it's been. And I'm not just riding for Hall Hog River Marshal, my wife. I'm riding for these other 1,600 or something. I get out there on the road and I get rained on, get hot, sweaty, dust in our face. That's nothing compared to what these Marines went through. I guess, admit it, that's the reason I'm here. And that's pretty much the end of the story there. And I've got a family now. Yeah.
Morning.
Morning.
From Amarillo, Texas. It's about 40 this morning. It's really cold. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. We're here at Sam's Club staging, and we're going all the way to Shawnee. And tonight, picking up his parents.
Yeah, tonight my parents are going to join us in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and they're going to ride the rest of the way with us, which is super exciting. So we'll see them, and they'll probably wait for us in Shawnee.
trigger on it, and it's like a 105 shell going off underneath you. It launches you through the plexiglass overhead canopy, and then your chute deploys, hopefully.
Shoots you. It doesn't open first?
Shoot you through it.
Oh!
For those of you who have never been welcomed home, may I say, on behalf of the people of Oklahoma, welcome home, Vietnam veterans.
Well, we leave Amarillo pretty early in the morning. It's overcast and a huge cell of rain. Weather radar indicated that we're going to get wet. So first gas stop, everybody gears up for rain gear, which guarantees that it's not going to rain, and it worked. It didn't rain a bit, but it looked horrible. We then stopped at a couple more gas stations, ended up in Stafford Museum, and that's General Thomas Stafford, astronaut at Great Air Force General. And we had the privilege of pinning on a Run for the Wall pin onto the General's lapel and telling him how much we felt that this man helped America and what a great patriot he was. And now we're going to go home and try to get some sleep, get ready for tomorrow, and hope that all these clouds go away. I think that issue when we got back from Vietnam probably hurt us more than probably some of the things we saw in Vietnam. You know, it's like your own parents rejecting you. Nobody asked any questions. They just didn't. And I think they believed what the journalists continually implied for the entire time we were in Vietnam, that we were nothing more than a bunch of baby killers and rogue soldiers and Marines and sailors. So nobody ever talked about it. But on the run, I found that people wanted to ask questions. What unit were you with? Where were you located? What was your feelings about Vietnam when you were there? What was the aftermath to you? What did that feel like? But it brought back thoughts and feelings that I'd had probably pretty well buried over the years. This was an out in the open group of Vietnam veterans and supporters who were with us on that run. So I got to see a change in America. When throngs of people line the bridges with American flags and the fire departments up there with the ladder trucks and the garrison flags flying, you had to say there's definitely been a change.
So here we are, day 5. We're here in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Picked up Karen and Ed this morning, or last night. So they brought us in, and now we're just staging over here at the local Walmart. And we're going all the way to Forest City today, 394 miles, they're saying. So it's a little chilly this morning, but not as cold as yesterday, which is great. So yeah, let's do this day.
How far are we going?
All the way!
How far?
All the way!
Thank you very much.
I'll tell you, we're family. We are definitely family. Something happens to one of us, all of us care. Everybody stepped up. The man's got some underwear, and we're proud of that.
actually starting to feel a little guilty. I mean, haven't given anywhere near the kind of sacrifice and loss that a lot of the people around me have, and they're still treating me with just as much warmth and appreciation and love. And I just wish I could give back more, you know? Back home, you don't see common courtesy, common sense, respect, honor, and here they have it in abundance. So they just show a lot of respect to my mother, and they are a big part of her life. And it's just amazing that they're giving me even just a little bit of that, because I don't deserve it. I just hope in the upcoming years that I can give more, because this route is amazing. Thanks.
The outreach program gets to go out and meet the family members, so that POW MIA is not just letters on a flag. That is a prisoner of war missing in action, and it takes on a life. It puts a face to that flag. So the outreach, we arrange to meet the families. Either sometimes we'll go out to the family if they can't come to us, and so it's just to remind them that we can hug their necks and tell them we're still looking for them. We have not forgotten them, and we never will. The biographies are a way to visually remember and to learn about some of these people that have given their life for us. And when you read that bio and you carry it on your bike with you, then you get to know that person. You remember their name because you're looking at it every day. Sam Zeb Hughes, and he's been, he was killed March 19th, 1968. And this young man was only in country 19 days when he was killed. Normally what I like to do is, if we're going to have a meeting with the family members that evening, that morning at the writers' meeting, I like to read that bio to all of our writers so that they can think about it through the day and they know we're going to meet that family member that night. And then I ask one of the writers who would like to take this particular bio the rest of the route to the wall. So I happened to be reading the bio that morning, and literally before I could finish it, there was a gentleman that came up and stood at the side of the trailer. He was like anxious. And so I kept reading, and he got more anxious and more anxious as I went through the story. And I finished, and I turned, and he literally came up on the podium and was begging me to give him the bio. And he said, "I know that man. I have to meet the family. I have to." He said, "I was there and I know him." And this man was overcome with emotion. And so I was able to introduce him that night to the sister of this man who I had been reading that morning. So, yeah.
Pledge allegiance to this flag. If that bothers you, well, that's too bad. You got pride and you're proud to do. Hey, we could use some more like me and you. Wear the stars and stripes and an eagle fly. ones that have protected us since we left Ontario. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for getting us through Nashville. Thank you kindly.
And I didn't even know what Vietnam was in 1962 when I joined. And went through basic training. They shipped me off to Armed Security Agency. And then I got orders for this place called Vietnam in 1963. And when we came back in the 60s, you know, getting meat coming off the airplane with signs and protests and spit on it, throwing junk at you. So I just put it away, locked it up. And on this run, I'm sorry. As we were going through St. Louis,
This is a great story. You need to tell it.
it's hard. But anyway, these motorcycle officers were giving us this police escort. And they were, all of a sudden they were getting on the east side of St. Louis. The motorcycles are just running. Officers were running hard, sirens and everything else just to get out there for something. And I remember telling Janelle, I says, I wonder what's going on. And as we got east of St. Louis, kind of saw up in the distance all, I don't know, probably 15, 20 motorcycle officers had parked their motorcycles perfectly, standing by their front wheel with a salute. And that was my welcome home. First time I heard it. 40 years. My mission now is that there is not a young veteran that doesn't get a welcome home.
So yesterday we started in Forest City, Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas. Went through Memphis, had the Memphis PD close down Interstate 40 all the way across town for us. After Memphis, we did a gas stop and then
Went to lunch.
went to lunch. Yep.
Then we hit Nashville. If you're ever riding through Nashville, don't. So with no PD support, we managed to get everybody through safely. And then we got to Cookville last night, our home away from home. The reception here is pretty incredible. To have all these guys come out and welcome us in.
But back to Cookville, they're the home away from home, and they rolled out the red carpet for us and paraded down, not Main Street, but paraded down the main
street,
main thoroughfare through there, and hooked us up.
And touch wood, so far they haven't arrested me this year. We're doing well.
We are.
No cuffs.
I felt out of place. I'm one of the youngest ones on the run, and I felt really, really out of place, but immediately I felt at home, being surrounded by veterans from all wars, from all services, from all ages. It's amazing. This run is not just for Vietnam veterans. This run is for everybody. In 2014, we set up an outreach on Southern Route for one of the KIAs in my unit. And just being surrounded by 20 riders, visiting the family of a Gold Star family, my passenger who was killed right next to me, and knowing those people cared. They truly, genuinely gave a damn about me, about the family, about what happened to me. And it made me heal because I was too scared to shed a tear around anybody. But being around those riders, being around Run for the Wall, being around the outreach team, being around your brothers and sisters, that was amazing feeling, being around people who care. When you can understand that you are riding for somebody else other than yourself, honoring somebody, whether they were killed, whether they're still missing in action, whether they just served and you want to ride in their honor to Vietnam Memorial Wall. It doesn't matter as long as you're riding for somebody else. So that way, this mission is not selfish. I was a prisoner of war for 22 days. I know for a fact I wasn't forgotten because of previous generations ensured that our future generations will not ever be forgotten. And I owe that as a repayment to make sure that all our POWs from all wars are become accountable.
All right, man, we're excited this morning. We have another beautiful day on the Run for the Wall. Just got gas and we're on our way to Siler City. It's one of our favorite lunch stops. They treat us so well there, feed us steaks, green beans, homemade ice cream. It's a fantastic stop. We always look forward to this.
Oh, Lord, Siler City.
Siler City.
That's the best lunch stop.
Homemade vanilla ice cream. They have the best green beans ever.
Ribeyes, and I don't know how they make these potatoes, but they're just awesome.
Those green beans are to die for.
And they have homemade peach cobbler.
But you always got that favorite, them green beans, girl.
Well, I'm senior pastor, and my church is just a wonderful church, and the heart of our church is based on the Mission M25 ministry that we do. But M25 is Matthew 25:36-40. It says, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was in prison, you came to see me. The heart of our church is to serve. So to think that on Wednesday, man, we shut church down on Wednesday night. That's kind of unheard of in the South, you know? And so our church really rallies around this idea. It's a big day for my people. They're excited. You know, we do ribeye steaks, we do homemade ice cream, homemade peach cobbler. Our folks go over the top to make sure our veterans know that they're appreciated. Chattel Middle School is in Siler City, and it was always a dream of mine and a hope of mine to get Run for the Wall in the middle school. There's multiple reasons why we want to do it. It's non-confrontational with kids. It opens them up, and we find healing that when those kids are ministering to our veterans, it begins to just pull away some of those difficult times and difficult things in their lives. And every little piece of that wall that can come down through a kid is another day to celebrate. And the kids at the schools do a fantastic job with the programs so that we get a chance to just unwind, lower the defense mechanisms, and the kids are, they're so innocent and pure, and so it brings a lot of healing. So it was multifaceted in the reasons why we wanted to go to the school. We always have our mayor involved. He tries to make it to the school, and I've got a lot of teachers that attend my church that were in the school, and so that helped open the door. So it was huge for us.
The ambassador role is something that's just awesome for me.
we're able to go out. We go out in front of the pack, and we get to meet and greet all of those, what I call patriots, over on the overpasses, along the roadsides, in cornfields in some of the places that we've gone to. And we take the time to actually get off the interstate or get off wherever we're going. We shake hands, we give pins, we give hugs, and are able to talk with them and tell them thank you for your support, thank you for your love, and just for being here for us. Seeing those people on the overpasses, and when you're going into a state and they're standing there at the rest areas with their flags and their banners, and you realize that America truly does support her people, her veterans, her military, and it's not necessarily everything that's on the news media. It's actually the heart of America still embraces her military and her veterans, and that's just a beautiful thing to see. On April 22nd, 2008, in Ramadi, Iraq, 2 Marine infantrymen stood their ground and opened fire on a truck carrying 2,000 pounds of explosives as it barreled toward their post and the 150 Marines, sailors, and Iraqi police inside the perimeter. The truck stopped just shy of Corporal Yale and Lance Corporal Harder, its windshield and driver behind the wheel, both blown away in a hail of gunfire. Then it detonated, killing the 2 Marines and leveling a city block. The attack, the Marines' final stand, and their sacrifice all took place in a matter of seconds. Yale was headed home in 3 weeks with the rest of the 2-8, and Harder was 1 week in country, just beginning his deployment with the 1-9. Their final act of courage, defiance, and selfless sacrifice bound the two together forever. That is the kind of people who are on watch all over the world tonight for you. They were awarded the Navy Cross posthumously. These 2 Marines live in my heart always, and I needed to tell you their story so they are never forgotten. Because one of the Marines they sacrificed their lives for is my son.
She won't say this, but one of them that died relieved our son 20 minutes earlier. 20 minutes. Always grateful.
Thank you. That is why we ride. Thank you for what you have done for us, and that's standing with us so that we know there's someone there if we make it home. Thank you.
I didn't learn about Run for the Wall till 2001. I was in the VA hospital in Palo Alto, California, and there was a fellow there started talking to me about Run for the Wall. At that point in time, I never even rode a motorcycle. So I bought a Honda Magna, used, for $3,000. I signed up with the run in Odessa. And there was one individual there that came up to me, and of course I wore the first cab patch, and he said, "You probably flew me." And they all said, "Welcome home." I felt like I finally made it home from Vietnam.
How far are we going? All the way! Can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been
Washington, D.C. How many miles?
3,100 change.
I taught nuclear power and ran the USS Nautilus, the first atomic-powered submarine. The closest I got to Vietnam was Mare Island, California, when I was in nuclear power school. I did all my stuff on the East Coast and never actually went in country, so that's why I have Vietnam era veteran on there. I don't feel qualified to consider myself an actual Vietnam vet. I'm a Vietnam era vet, but it's not a motorcycle ride. It's a mission. And every morning at the daily briefings, they read bios of people that were killed that day in Vietnam. If it was a Navy person, they asked for a Navy person to take that person to the wall. And the other 2 years, I've taken 5 people home, and that's an honor. Because that's what this ride's all about. It's bringing those people back and giving them the welcome that they should have got. Just seeing the people waving the flags, all the little kids wanting your autograph, the big American flags on the fire trucks, all the firemen saluting. It makes you proud to be an American.
Right now, we're in the basement of the host hotel in Washington, D.C., and right now we're all queuing up to go to take 400 motorcycles into Arlington National Cemetery. We're the only people that get to do that the entire weekend while we're here.
We're going to lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier for the Run for the Wall, and we're also going to see a changing of the guard. So it's an awesome experience, and that's why we ride.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony that you are about to witness is an Army wreath flag ceremony to be conducted by Run for the Wall. Thank you.
The wall it's not just a special place, it's an extremely special place. To see what it means to different people and how it affects them is just awe-inspiring.
The wall's overpowering. It's huge. You see it from a distance and it's just this big black monolith. Yeah. You get close to it and start reading names, it's tough.
Every time I go to the statue, I look into the eyes and say, my God, that was me 50 years ago. That I was that young, that determined, that loyal, that duty-bound, believing so much in my country and doing whatever it was going to take to save it.
I have 15 people on that wall.
The first trip to the wall was very, very emotional, but it was also healing because I did make it there, and I had a lot of support from the ones that had already been there because they knew what us that hadn't been there yet were feeling and going through. So.
The world just disappears. You walk across that wall. The marbled mirror is crazy. You can see everybody's reflection. They're just leaning on it, and it's almost, you can just see pure emotion.
The sheer numbers of names just lined up, row after row after column. It's kind of a stark slap in the face of what war really is.
It scares a lot of the Vietnam vets. I've seen a lot of them stay back off and they can't get the courage to go up to the wall. That's what RFTW does. They sit there and holds the vet, cries with them. You walk away and the demons are gone. And you don't get that till you go. You gotta go to the wall.
Go to the wall. Don't fight it.
You need to go for your sake, and I will be there with you.
You need to come. Be with your brothers again. And take some of that emptiness away. It will take some of that emptiness away. Every non-vet should go to the wall.
So in this time, in this place, for those of you who don't know, the last names down here are the reason Run for the Wall came Run for the Wall. The last 3 Marines lost in combat in the Vietnam War. Hargrove, Hall, and Marshall right here on the bottom. So it's only befitting this 30th year that these leaders let all y'all hear, because this is what it's all about. So thank you, Run for the Wall. It's all about you. Yep. Thank you. Now your mission is complete. Amen.
What is our first mission? What is our second mission? What is our second mission? What is our third mission? What is our third mission? What does that mean?
I want to say thank you to each and every one of those people who came along for this epic 30-year anniversary. And I also want to say thanks to all those people who fed us across the country. All those people who came out on those bridges and waved flags. They participated in the parade that these guys never got.
There's a lot of names on the wall there, the guys I know, and
I like to think that wherever they are today, they're looking down and they can feel us riding for them.